The cold mountain air bit into Alex Ward's face as he lay prone, hidden in the brush. His body was still, a natural extension of the earth, but his mind was sharp, every sense heightened. He scanned the valley below through his scope, tracking the slow descent of alien ships from the dull, overcast sky. Massive and ominous, the silver vessels hummed quietly as they touched down, their sleek, alien hulls contrasting with the ruined remnants of an old human city. "They're laughing at us," Alex muttered under his breath, adjusting the windage on his rifle. Through his earpiece, the distant hum of Command's voice crackled. "Hold your position, Ghost. This has to be perfect. We can't afford to miss." Alex didn't need the reminder. In the years since the aliens first arrived, humanity had been pushed to the brink of extinction. Earth was a battlefield now, and Alex was one of its last defenders. A sniper by training, he had long since become a ghost, a lone operative who thrived in the wilderness, always unseen, always precise. He had learned the hard way that the aliens, for all their advanced technology, underestimated humanity. It would be their downfall. He inhaled slowly, steadying his heartbeat. One breath, one shot, that's all it would take. In the distance, the alien forces began to emerge from the ships. Tall, towering figures with elongated limbs, their armor gleamed under the faint light of the afternoon sun. Leading them was General Arekor, a towering figure draped in ceremonial armor, his arrogant posture broadcasting his disdain for the primitive world he was invading. Alex adjusted the scope again, zeroing in on the general's head. His finger hovered over the trigger. He couldn't miss. Not this time. "You've got this, Ward," came the quiet voice of Captain Reeves through his earpiece. Reeves was one of the few left in command, one of the few Alex trusted. "Wait for it. You know when." Alex waited. The valley was eerily quiet, save for the occasional rumble of distant artillery. His world narrowed to the figure in his crosshairs. Time seemed to slow. Then, a sudden gust of wind. Alex recalculated. One minor adjustment, nothing more. His fingers squeezed the trigger. The crack of the rifle shot was sharp and clear, echoing off the mountains. For a brief second, there was nothing but silence. Then Arekor's body crumpled, collapsing like a puppet with its strings cut. The alien soldiers froze in confusion, their leader's death so swift they hadn't yet registered the attack. Alex didn't stick around to watch the aftermath. He was already moving, packing up his gear, slipping into the shadows. He knew the drill. The aliens would scramble their drones soon, searching for the shooter. But they wouldn't find him. Not yet. The voice of Captain Reeves came back through his earpiece, breathless. "Target down. Good work, Ghost. Now get out of there. Drones are inbound." "Already on it," Alex replied, his voice calm. He slung the rifle over his shoulder and began navigating the rocky terrain. His body moved smoothly, years of training allowing him to melt into the environment as if he were part of it. Below, chaos erupted. The alien forces were frantically searching, their advanced sensors scanning every inch of the valley. Alex could hear the distant buzz of drones as they deployed from the ships. He quickened his pace, cutting through the underbrush, making for a cave he had scouted days before. He paused briefly, taking in the scene below. The alien army was in disarray, soldiers moving erratically as they tried to regroup. Despite the overwhelming odds, the death of Arekor had shaken them. It was a reminder of their greatest flaw, overconfidence. They believed they were untouchable, that humanity was nothing more than an inconvenience. But they hadn't counted on people like Alex. As he slipped into the cave's cool darkness, Alex allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. The mission wasn't over, but this was a victory, small, but vital. He checked his rifle, recalibrating it for the next target. The invasion wasn't stopping, and neither was he. Suddenly, the earpiece crackled again. "Ward, we've got movement. Another general's inbound, different sector. They're sending more forces your way." "Let them come," Alex said, his voice barely more than a whisper. "I'm ready." He settled into the shadows, his body still, his mind alert. Outside, the whir of alien drones grew louder, But Alex was invisible, a ghost in the wilderness. His next shot would be just as perfect. The aliens might laugh at Earth's defenders now, but soon they'd learn the hard way. The first shot had been a warning. The next would be the end. The low hum of the drones reverberated through the air, a constant reminder of the hunt. Alex Ward crouched at the mouth of the cave, watching the pale sky for any sign of movement. His muscles tensed as the faint mechanical whine grew closer, and he quickly pulled himself deeper into the cave's shadows. The drones were sweeping the area, looking for him, searchlights cutting through the barren landscape like a predator seeking its prey. Ghost status? Captain Reeves's voice broke the silence, crackling through the earpiece. All clear for now, Alex replied in a low whisper, his breath barely audible. They're sweeping hard though. Can't stay in one place for long. You rattled them. Good shot on our Acor, but the next general's already inbound. They're not going to make the same mistake twice. Alex grunted in acknowledgement. He knew the drill. The first kill had been a statement, but it wasn't enough to turn the tide. The aliens were regrouping, adapting, and they would come back smarter. Overconfidence had been their weakness, but they were learning quickly. Too quickly. Peering out again, Alex spotted the glowing lights of the drones combing through the valley. Their movements were methodical, precise, covering every possible hiding spot. These weren't just reconnaissance drones, they were hunters, equipped with sensors far beyond human technology. If they locked onto him, there would be no escape. Alex took a deep breath, his mind racing through his options. His position was compromised, and staying in the cave much longer would be suicide. But making a move while the drones were still active was just as risky. He had to time it perfectly. Ghost, listen! Reeves interrupted his thoughts. Satellite feed shows a cluster of enemy forces setting up west of your position. It looks like they're reinforcing the area. If you can get eyes on them, we might be able to disrupt their operation before the next wave. Alex grimaced. You want me to take the shot? Not yet. I need a better visual before we authorize anything. But you'll have to move now. Time's running out. Alex exhaled, wiping the sweat from his brow. He didn't like the idea of moving with drones so close, but there wasn't much choice. His rifle was already slung across his back, his footsteps silent as he eased his way out of the cave's shelter. Every movement was calculated, deliberate. He knew the terrain like the back of his hand, navigating the jagged rocks and loose dirt with practiced precision. The distant sound of alien voices drifted up from the valley. He crouched low, pressing himself against the ledge as he peered over the edge. Below, a small squad of aliens was setting up equipment, communication arrays, shield generators, things that would fortify their position. His eyes narrowed. This was more than just a regrouping, they were establishing a command center. A sharp crackle broke the silence, and Alex's pulse quickened. The drones were drawing closer, their searchlights sweeping over the ridge. He pressed himself against the cold stone, barely breathing. The light passed just inches above his head, but the drone hadn't detected him. Not yet. His earpiece buzzed again. Ghost, we've got enough data. Confirm the target. Take the shot. Alex unslung his rifle and positioned it on the ledge, his hands moving with practiced ease. Through the scope, he could see the alien commander directing his troops. It wasn't a general, just a high-ranking officer, but taking him out would cripple their efforts to secure the area. His finger hovered over the trigger, every fiber of his being focused on that single moment. But something wasn't right. His instinct screamed at him, telling him to wait. A subtle movement near the communication array caught his eye, a flash of light, too fast to be a reflection. His gut twisted. They've got a decoy, he muttered. Say again? Reeves asked, his voice tight. They're baiting me, Alex whispered, shifting his aim slightly. Through the scope, he could just make out the edge of a cloaked figure near the rear of the formation. An actual commander, hiding behind the distraction. He recalibrated his shot. One breath in. Steady. The crack of the rifle shattered the stillness. The hidden commander staggered, his cloak flickering as he fell. Chaos erupted below as the aliens scrambled to respond. Alex didn't wait to see the outcome. He was already on the move. "Target down," he said, picking up the pace as the drone whirred ominously above. "But they're coming. I need extraction, fast." "We're tracking you," Reeves replied. "Just stay alive long enough for us to get you out." The ground beneath Alex shifted as he sprinted over the ridge, the drone's sensors finally locking onto his heat signature. Its searchlight blazed down on him, and the distinct sound of weapons charging filled the air. His heart pounded, but his mind remained focused. He just needed to reach the next cover. Behind him, the alien forces began to mobilize, but Alex was already ahead of them. He darted between rocks, his silhouette a blur in the fading light. Every step brought him closer to safety, or so he hoped. The drones wouldn't give up easily. Neither would Alex. Alex's lungs burned as he dashed between rocky outcrops, his legs pumping hard against the rough terrain. The drone's searchlight danced behind him, its hum growing louder, more insistent. He felt the weight of its gaze, knowing one mistake would mean the end. But there was no room for hesitation. He moved with the precision of a predator, each step calculated, every breath controlled. The cold wind whipped against his face, but his focus remained unshaken. "Reeves, how long until extraction?" Alex growled into his earpiece, his voice tight with exertion. "ETA 10 minutes. Just keep moving, Ghost. They're flooding your sector with troops, but our birds are en route. You can make it," Captain Reeves replied, the tension in his voice barely concealed. 10 minutes. Alex cursed under his breath. That might as well be a lifetime out here. He veered sharply, sliding down a steep embankment as the drone's spotlight swept past his last position. Behind him, he could hear the unmistakable whine of alien ground units moving in, faster than he'd anticipated. Their technology gave them a distinct advantage in speed and detection, but they still couldn't predict his next move. He needed to use that. Suddenly, a new sound cut through the air, footsteps, human. Alex froze for a fraction of a second, then melted into the shadow of a large boulder, his rifle drawn. He listened, his heart pounding against his ribs. It wasn't the alien march. Too soft. Too cautious. "Ghost, do you read me?" A low voice whispered from the shadows ahead. "Identify." Alex barked quietly, finger resting on the trigger. A figure stepped out from the cover of a crumbling rock formation, a soldier, human, dressed in standard resistance gear. The man raised his hands slightly, showing no signs of threat. "Corporal Jensen, sent by command to assist with exfil. Orders changed, you're not alone anymore." Alex's eyes narrowed, his instincts screaming at him. This was wrong. Command hadn't mentioned reinforcements, and Jensen's arrival seemed far too convenient. Still, if this was a ruse, the enemy would have acted by now. He kept his rifle trained on Jensen, suspicion etched in every line of his face. "Corporal, where's your team?" Alex asked, voice sharp. "Scattered after the last drone sweep," Jensen replied, his gaze steady. "I'm all that's left. We got hit hard on our way here, but I managed to shake them." He gestured to the rifle slung across his back. "I'm still in the fight. But we've got to move now. They're closing in." Alex's gut churned. Something felt off, but the drone's hum was getting closer again, and the ground units would be here any minute. He couldn't afford to waste time, even if it meant taking a risk. "Fine," Alex said, lowering his weapon slightly but not fully. "But stay close and don't get in my way." Together, they moved swiftly through the rugged terrain, their footsteps barely making a sound. Jensen followed Alex's lead, keeping pace but maintaining a respectful distance. The tension between them was palpable. Alex still didn't trust him, but for now, they were on the same side. At least, he hoped they were. 2 clicks north and we're clear for extraction," Jensen whispered, his eyes darting to the sky. "I've been tracking enemy comms. There's a squad sweeping in from the east close. We need to keep ahead of them." Alex nodded, already aware of the squad's presence. His senses were honed to the point where he could almost feel the enemy closing in, the weight of their advance pressing down on him. As they approached a small rise, Alex motioned for Jensen to stop. "Something's wrong," Alex muttered, scanning the horizon. His instincts were firing on all cylinders, every fiber of his being on high alert. He crouched low, peering through his scope. There, just beyond the ridge, a flicker of movement. Not the heavy steps of the alien soldiers, but something more deliberate. Calculated. He turned to Jensen, who had his weapon drawn, scanning the same area. "Stay back," Alex ordered, creeping forward to get a better angle. That's when he saw it. A figure in the distance, cloaked in the same stealth gear as the alien decoy from earlier. This wasn't a ground unit, this was something worse. A traitor. Before Alex could react, Jensen's voice came cold from behind him. "You really are as sharp as they say, Ghost." Alex whipped around, but it was too late. Jensen had his rifle aimed directly at him, his eyes void of emotion. "Command didn't send me, Ward. But they'll send someone to recover your body once we're done." "Traitor!" Alex spat, realizing too late the trap he had walked into. Jensen wasn't resistance, he was working with the invaders. The aliens had learned faster than he'd thought. They had adapted, and now, they were using humanity against itself. But Alex wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. With lightning reflexes, he dove behind a nearby rock, bullets whizzing past him as Jensen fired. His mind raced, calculating his next move. He couldn't let this be the end. He wouldn't. "Ghost, report. What's happening?" Reeves's voice crackled urgently in his ear. "Compromised," Alex hissed through gritted teeth. "Traitor in the ranks. I'll handle it." Jensen was closing in, but Alex's hand was steady as he prepped his rifle. His eyes locked on the betrayer's silhouette, his mind already counting down the seconds. The enemy might be human this time, but Alex Ward had never missed a shot. The air was thick with tension as Alex flattened himself against the jagged rock, his eyes locked on Jensen's approaching form. The enemy had come in many shapes and sizes, but this betrayal cut deeper than any alien threat. A human face twisted with cold malice now stood as his most dangerous adversary. Alex's breath steadied, his rifle warm in his hands. He was running out of time. "You're cornered, Ghost!" Jensen's voice echoed over the ridge, the eerie calm in his tone only heightening the sense of dread. "It's over. You're outgunned, outnumbered." Alex's mind raced, calculating the best course of action. He wasn't out of options yet, not by a long shot. His fingers tapped the side of his rifle, recalibrating for distance. From his cover, he could see the shifting shadows of the incoming alien ground units, now converging on their location. If he waited any longer, there'd be no escape. He tapped his earpiece, whispering, "Reeves, I'm in a bad spot. Traitors on me, alien units closing fast. Status on extraction?" Static crackled in his ear before Reeves' voice came through, urgent and clear. "Birds are less than 5 minutes out. Hold your ground, Ward. We'll get you out." 5 minutes. He couldn't give Jensen that much time. He had to act now. Alex peered around the boulder, catching a glimpse of Jensen as he crouched, setting up for a clear shot. The man was too exposed, too confident. That arrogance would be his downfall. Alex's eyes narrowed as he aligned the scope, targeting Jensen's shoulder. A kill shot would be too clean. He wanted answers. In one fluid motion, Alex squeezed the trigger. The report of his rifle echoed across the canyon as the bullet hit home. Jensen's grunt of pain was followed by a harsh thud as he hit the ground, clutching his arm. Alex didn't hesitate. He sprinted from his cover, keeping his rifle leveled as he closed the distance. Jensen, gritting his teeth through the pain, struggled to raise his weapon, but Alex kicked it away, his boot grinding the barrel into the dirt. "You've got about 30 seconds to tell me why," Alex growled, his voice low and venomous. "Why betray us? Why work with the aliens?" Jensen smirked through the pain, blood seeping through his fingers. "You still don't get it, do you? Humanity's already lost. The aliens, they've adapted. They don't want to destroy us, not completely. They want us to join them. Alex's eyes flashed with disgust. You sold us out for survival? For more than survival, Jensen hissed, his voice strained. For evolution. You think you're a hero, Ward? You're a relic. The future belongs to those willing to change. I chose the winning side. Alex's hand tightened on the grip of his rifle, rage bubbling just beneath the surface. But before he could respond, a low rumble in the distance caught his attention. The ground trembled slightly as the alien ground units came into view, their massive forms illuminated by the moonlight. Time was running out. You chose wrong, Alex muttered, stepping back and firing a single round into Jensen's leg, ensuring he wouldn't be going anywhere. The traitor screamed, collapsing fully to the ground. Alex didn't spare him a second glance. He turned his attention to the approaching enemy, taking cover behind a nearby rock. Reeves, ground units are here! I need air support now! Alex barked into his comm, his voice edged with urgency. Birds are inbound, Reeves replied. Hang tight, Ghost. We're almost on top of you. The alien units advanced in a tight formation, their heavy footsteps reverberating through the ground. Alex's rifle was trained on the lead soldier, a towering figure clad in sleek, metallic armor. His finger hovered over the trigger, waiting for the right moment. He could take a few of them out, but not all. If his extraction didn't arrive soon, it wouldn't matter. Suddenly, the sky above roared to life as the unmistakable sound of human aircraft thundered through the night. Alex glanced upward, relief flooding his veins as the dropships broke through the clouds, their engines glowing bright against the dark backdrop. He exhaled slowly, knowing the tide was about to turn. Air support in position, Reeves confirmed. Light him up, Ward. With precise aim, Alex fired the first shot, his bullet striking the alien commander square in the chest. The creature stumbled backward, its armor cracking under the force. The others scattered, momentarily thrown off by the sniper's strike. Then, the sky erupted in fire as the dropships unleashed a barrage of missiles, raining destruction on the alien forces. Explosions rocked the ground, sending dust and debris into the air. Alex gritted his teeth, using the chaos to his advantage as he picked off targets with lethal efficiency. Within minutes, the alien unit was decimated, their forces retreating in disarray. Alex stood, his heart still pounding from the intensity of the battle. He glanced back at Jensen, now unconscious from blood loss, then at the approaching dropship that would carry him to safety. Ghost, mission complete. Ready for extraction, Reeves said over the comm, his voice filled with pride. Alex nodded, climbing aboard the ship as its doors slid shut. He looked out one last time at the smoking battlefield below. Humanity wasn't finished, not yet. As the dropship ascended into the sky, Alex whispered to himself, Let them laugh. We're just getting started.